Okay, let's dive right into one of the biggest and coolest mysteries in all of paleontology. This is something that pretty much shapes our entire vision of the prehistoric world.
So, when you think of a dinosaur sound, what pops into your head? For pretty much everyone, it's that one thing, right? That earth-shaking, absolutely terrifying roar of the T-Rex from the movies. I mean, it's iconic, it's super dramatic, and for decades, that's been the dinosaur sound. Well, here's the thing. That legendary roar, it's super cool, but it's almost certainly wrong. Yeah, as awesome as it sounds, all the scientific evidence we have points to a prehistoric soundscape that was actually much, much stranger and honestly way more interesting. So, okay, why is that big, epic movie roar probably fiction? Well, the answer starts with this huge challenge scientists face when studying the deep past. It's called the fossil problem, and it basically means we just don't have the same kind of evidence for that era as we do for, pretty much anything in recorded history.
I mean, it's pretty simple when you think about it. There were no microphones in the Mesozoic era. Nobody was around to hit record. Sound just doesn't fossilize. It's just vibrations in the air for a fleeting moment and then poof, it's gone. Forever. We have literally zero direct audio evidence of a single dinosaur. And that right there is the core of the whole problem. Fossils, they're amazing, but they only give us the hard parts, the bones, the teeth, the armor plating. But what about the soft tissues that actually make the sound? We're talking about things like a larynx, like we have, or a bird's syrinx. Those parts, they just decay and completely disappear, leaving behind absolutely no trace. So if we can't just dig up a dinosaur's voice, how on earth can we even begin to guess what they sounded like? Well, this is where the really clever detective work of science comes into play. We have to look for clues, not on the ground, but in the animals that are alive right now, today. And the solution is to look at their closest living relatives. Think about it. On one side, you've got crocodiles, which come from a super ancient lineage. And on the other side, you have their direct descendants, birds. Yup, birds are dinosaurs. So by studying the sounds both of these groups make, scientists can kind of triangulate. They can make a really educated guess about what their common ancestor, the dinosaurs, might have sounded like. So what happens when you actually combine all those clues from birds and crocs? Well, I'll tell you what you don't get. You don't get that Hollywood roar. What you get is a completely different picture, a soundscape that is way more alien and way more diverse. So instead of just one single lion-like roar, I want you to imagine a whole symphony of strange noises. We're talking deep, guttural rumbles, booms that probably came right from the chest. There would have been menacing hisses. And yeah, for some of the smaller, more bird-like dinosaurs, you'd probably hear chirps and other complex calls. It was a really varied and incredibly complex world of sound. But this is where it gets really wild. A lot of scientists believe that many of the big dinosaurs might have used something called infrasound. Now, this isn't just a sound you hear with your ears. Oh no, it's a super, super low frequency vibration. It travels through the ground, it travels through the air, and you would literally feel it in your chest. It's an absolutely incredible idea, right? Like a living subwoofer just walking around. Imagine a creature so huge that its voice isn't just a noise, it's an actual physical force. You might feel a giant dinosaur coming long before you ever heard it. Now that is both terrifying and just completely awesome. And this all brings us to a really important takeaway, I think. Sometimes we get so attached to the fictional versions of things, like the movies, that we kind of forget that the scientific reality, well, it can be even more creative and way more awe-inspiring. So at the end of the day, the real sounds of the dinosaurs weren't just one note of roaring aggression. It was this complex symphony of booms and hisses and these deep, chest-rattling vibrations. It was a soundscape that would feel genuinely alien to us and so much more subtle and interesting than anything Hollywood ever imagined. And that really leaves us with one final thought to chew on. If our most basic, fundamental idea of what a T-Rex sounds like is probably wrong, what else do we think we know about dinosaurs? What other pop culture facts about the ancient world are just waiting to be completely overturned by the next big discovery?